guys, and welcome back to Reach Your Own Demand. Thanks so much for being here today. So today we got an exciting delivery. We got our worms from Uncle Jim's Worm Farm. These are red wigglers, and I wanted to waste no time getting them set up here in our bin. Something that Keith and I have decided that we're going to partake in is vermicomposting to make our own worm castings for our garden and our lawn and anything else we decide to use them for. Compost has definitely been a huge expense for us, especially being here in the city where we don't really have access to neighboring farms that may have started a compost bin or anything like that. So sourcing compost has definitely been a big expense for us. So one way to combat that, because we do live in a neighborhood and we can't have a traditional compost bin easily, is to try worm farming. Come on, boo. Come on. Eric's here with us today. He's out there chasing chickens. Having fun? You gonna go change your shoes? You're gonna have to wait because I don't want the dog out, okay? Alright. So what I have here is a bin that we have around our homestead, if you will. I believe we got these from Home Depot for like $8 or so, maybe 6 months ago. Everything is a little bit more expensive now, so I think I saw comparable bins, maybe a little bit bigger, just recently at Tractor Supply for like $12.99, $14.99, something like that. So they are a bit more expensive, I believe. I can't remember. I believe this is a 27-gallon tote, but I'm not sure. Any tote will do. The method I'm going to use doesn't have holes in the bottoms for the leachate, because I don't intend on wetting this down enough for there to be a ton of liquid buildup. I want the food that we feed them and their natural excretions to keep this nice and moist. I am going to wet it down just a bit before we put everything in here, but other than that, I'm not going to be wetting it down too much more often. And if I find out that that's an issue, then we have another one of these bins somewhere that we've rooted our chickens in, and we'll fix that situation. But until then, this is what we got started. Now you will need a lid. I have a lid back here. I'm not gonna put holes in the top because I don't want rainwater to get in, and it rains a ton here in Louisiana. Another reason I'm not putting holes in the bottom is because we intend on storing our vermicomposting bin or bins as they reproduce here under the carport. It's a lot easier to keep them cool and out of the elements for us. So that's another reason why I'm not going to put holes in the bottom. So to fill our bins, I have some spent potting soil. It's a potting blend mix of compost, peat moss, and I believe a little bit of fertilizer. We use this to grow our sweet potatoes, so there are some sweet potato roots and things like that in here. Another thing I'm going to be adding in is coffee grounds. I don't know where I stuck them. Oh, here they are. We got coffee grounds here from our local Starbucks for free. As some grit for the worms. And then I'm going to be throwing in some leaves from our garden. Now you could do this with shredded newspaper and leaves, 100% soil, 100% peat moss. I really wanted to use things that I could source for free, or I could use here from our property, because I didn't want to be buying things specifically for the composting bin when I had things around that I could use for free, and that kind of eats into the savings of doing vermicomposting in the beginning. And then of course we have our worms. They are red wigglers. There's 500 of them. I opted for 500 just because we have the one bin, and in about 3 months time we'll have probably double that. So red wigglers are asexual, meaning they reproduce within themselves. So that's another reason why I chose them. And they can eat like 2 or 3 times their body weight, so it's crazy. What I'm going to be feeding them is, I have some radishes that came out of our garden. I have some carrots that came out of our garden. I'm going to be throwing some old tomatoes in there. I'm not going to be throwing jalapenos in there because I found out online that they don't tend to like spicy. And then I'm probably going to throw some more foliage and stuff in there. Like I said, I have some leaves out on the ground and things like that. So let's get started putting this together. Right, so this soil, my chickens have picked over. So it's really, really, really dry. And all I'm going to do is put this soil in this bin. Nothing to it but to do it. I will be grabbing a shovel, I think, just to make it a bit easier on myself, and I'll come back and show y'all what that looks like. So I'm just shoveling this soil into the bin. Now this is my first time trying vermicomposting at all, so I've done a lot of research in YouTube University, and from what I understand, the soil and or bedding, whether it be peat moss, cocoa coir, what have you, doesn't really matter a ton from everything that I'm gathering. See, there's some sweet potatoes still in there, in that soil. I definitely want to give them a good amount of bedding, because basically the bedding, they're going to eat it as well. So the bedding and the poop, basically, of the worm is your worm castings. So I have this bin probably, I don't know, maybe about 4 inches in there. I want to put a good amount in there, so I might put most of this wheelbarrow in there. And I'm not too worried about the sweet potatoes being in there. It's just more food for the worms. Now, until I know exactly how much they can eat at a time, I'm not going to overfeed them. So with there being these sweet potatoes in here, I'm not going to put too much food in here at a time. And Keith is being my cameraman right now. Thanks, y'all. Don't mind me doing yard work in my work shoes and such. This is my life. From what I understand, especially if you use cocoa coir or something, you definitely want to give it a spritz. You don't want it to be soupy, but you definitely want to give it a nice good drink where it feels like castings in your hand. So I just did a spritz across the top, and I'm going to stir it. Because remember, you have to kind of hydrate the soil, because worms need liquid to breathe. They breathe through their skin. So if you ever pick up a worm and it's really slimy, it's because that's that mucus that is created to breathe through its skin. And when they're transported to you, they come really, really, really dry. So while it seems like, even with me not having holes in the bottom, I'm putting a ton of water in here, I don't plan on wetting this down. Honestly, if at all, very much after this. So raking. Eric's over there raking, y'all. I forgot I got on these burgundy jeans. They're gonna be black when I get done. So you want it to be wet enough to kind of hold together, but not sopping wet. And I'm airing on the side of less because I am going to be adding vegetables pretty much, and vegetables have a lot of water in them. So you want to take your time and mix it good. If it takes you 10 minutes, you gotta stop and take a break. Stop and take a break. But you want to make sure you get it pretty well, at least kind of damp. I think that's good. See that? It's holding together, but it crumbles. I'm gonna add some grit. Now you can add grit. Actually, this is probably a plenty grit, but because I have them, I'm gonna try to open this here bag and put these coffee grounds in there. The struggle. And they smell good. I love how coffee smells. So I'm just gonna put some coffee grounds in there. Coffee grounds are really good for compost in general, even if you have like a more traditional composting situation. I'll save those for another time. My sweet boy is over there raking up some leaves. I'm gonna go see if he'll let me get some to put in my bin. Now, from what I read, they can go through a little bit of shock when they're first transplanted in here and try to migrate out. I'm gonna try to get this done because we're running out of light, y'all. So actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the food in here. So I have just some radish here. So I'm gonna drop in here. I'm gonna grab some tomatoes that are rotting. Ooh. My thought process is I can always add more food later in the week. What I don't want to happen is my compost bin start smelling because I put too much food in here. Alright. I'm gonna put a little bit of brown on top, and I'm gonna put my worms right on top of here. See, I may have to. Can y'all see in there? No, probably not. They're really active in there. Very much alive. We're gonna put these in the bin.
Let me see.
Can you see real good? Okay. I'm hoping I got them all out of there. I don't want to leave any of the little fellas behind.
Nope.
So I'm going to make sure I got them all out of here. Alright. Alright, so there they are. Watch out, baby. Look at that.
What's all those worms for?
Very healthy. Very healthy worms. And then we're just going to cover this back up. They don't like sunlight. They're wiggling around because I've exposed them. They're not happy.
Where are the worms?
I just covered them up. You want to see?
Yeah.
Look. Isn't that cool?
Wow.
Cool, huh? Put them in here.
Do they eat?
Yeah, they're going to eat what I just put in here. Isn't that cool? Can you come bring some of those leaves that you were raking over here for me? Thank you. My little helper. Alright. We're losing daylight, so hopefully y'all can see. But I'm going to just get Bubba to bring some of his leaves over here. Slowly but surely. And we're going to put the top on. And those little guys will be good to go. That's all you're going to put in there?
A lot more than that.
Alright, so we're just going to stick the top on these guys. And there we go. And these will probably live over here somewhere under this carport. Maybe right here. Just away from the elements, away from the sun and things like that. Away from our chickens. We're just gonna let them go to work. I'm excited. You excited?
Yeah.
Alright. Anyway guys, that's it for today's video. I gotta go inside and get cleaned up and figure out what we're doing for dinner. But thanks so much for stopping by and being a part of our little homestead journey. If you like videos like this, or if you're an urban homesteader yourself or aspiring urban homesteader, consider clicking the link down below and follow us along on our journey to turn our little very small plot of land into an urban homestead right here in New Orleans. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye guys.